Commander Sarah Chen stood on the crystalline balcony of what had once been the Zephyrian High Council chambers, watching human children play in the methane gardens below. The irony wasn't lost on her 3 years ago. The Zephyrians had declared humanity biologically inferior and environmentally limited. Today, their homeworld thrived under human stewardship, while the Zephyrians themselves had become refugees on distant colonies. The war hadn't started with bullets or bombs. It had started with laughter. Impossible, High Counselor Vextar had sneered during the first interspecies summit, his translucent blue form shimmering with what humans had learned was Zephyrian contempt. Your species requires such narrow environmental parameters: oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere, liquid water, temperatures between freezing and boiling, how pathetically limiting. You cannot even survive on 90% of habitable worlds. The other species in attendance, the silicon-based Craxi, the plasma-dwelling Heliarchs, and the void-adapted Umbrals, had joined in what their translation devices rendered as various forms of mocking agreement. Humanity, they concluded, would forever be confined to their single blue marble and perhaps a handful of similar worlds. Dr. Elena Vasquez, Earth's chief xenobiologist, had smiled politely and said nothing, but Chen remembered the gleam in her eyes, the same look she'd worn when told that humans could never survive in the deep ocean, or the Antarctic, or the upper atmosphere, or the vacuum of space itself. Challenge accepted, Vasquez had whispered to Chen after the summit. Within 6 months, the first human settlements appeared on Craxi Prime. The Craxi had been baffled to discover humans thriving in their high radiation, low-gravity environment using nothing more than modified atmospheric processors and radiation-resistant bacterial symbionts. When the Craxi demanded explanations, human scientists cheerfully shared their techniques: genetic modification, environmental adaptation, and something the aliens couldn't quite grasp: stubborn determination. The Heliarch sun-soaked worlds fell next. Humans arrived with solar-powered exoskeletons and heat-dispersing biomodifications, settling on planets where surface temperatures exceeded 200 degrees Celsius. They built cities in the Heliarch's sacred plasma fields, turning the deadly environment into geothermal power sources that outproduced anything the energy beings had achieved. But it was the conquest of the umbral void colonies that truly shattered alien confidence. The umbrals existed in the cold darkness between stars, feeding on cosmic radiation and gravitational fields. Humans not only survived in their territories but established thriving deep space habitats that processed dark matter more efficiently than umbral biotechnology. The aliens had made a fundamental error. They assumed biological limitations were permanent. Every challenge is just a problem waiting for a solution, Vasquez had explained to the increasingly nervous Galactic Council. Humans don't accept impossible, we redefine it. The war began when the Zephyrians, watching their assumed supremacy crumble, launched a preemptive strike against human settlements. Their methane-based weaponry, designed to be instantly lethal to oxygen-breathing life forms, instead found humans who had bioengineered themselves to process methane as efficiently as their home atmosphere. Chen remembered the moment the tide turned. A Zephyrian war fleet, confident in their environmental superiority, had surrounded the human colony on Zerion 7, a world of crushing pressure and toxic storms that even the Zephyrians found challenging. The aliens demanded surrender, certain that humans couldn't possibly fight effectively in such conditions. Instead, they found humans who moved like ghosts in the poisonous fog, who had learned to read the toxic storm patterns like weather maps, who used the planet's crushing gravity as a weapon against the lighter Zephyrian forces. The battle was over in 3 hours. The Zephyrian admiral, captured while trying to retreat to his environmental suit, had stared at his human captors in disbelief. "How?" he had gasped. "This world kills everything. Even we can barely survive here." Chen had removed her helmet, breathing the toxic atmosphere as easily as Earth's air. "You see death," she'd said. "We see home." The war ended not with humanity's victory but with their generosity. As Zephyrian worlds fell to human adaptation, as their impossible-to-inhabit territories became thriving human colonies, the aliens expected revenge. Instead, humans offered partnership. "Why?" Vextar had asked during the surrender negotiations, his form flickering with confusion. "We tried to exterminate you. We called you inferior. Dr. Vasquez, now elderly but still sharp, had answered simply, "Because you were wrong, but you weren't evil. You just couldn't imagine what humanity actually is." And what is that? Adaptable. Now, 3 years later, Chen watched human children play alongside young Zephyrians in the methane gardens. The aliens were learning from humanity's example, discovering that their own limitations might not be as absolute as they'd believed. Zephyrian scientists worked with human researchers, developing new biotechnologies that pushed the boundaries of what was possible for both species. The galaxy had learned a crucial lesson. Never tell humans something can't be done. Don't challenge them to survive in impossible conditions. Don't declare their biology insufficient for a task. Because humans don't accept limitations, they engineer solutions. They don't adapt to environments. They adapt environments to themselves and themselves to environments until the distinction becomes meaningless. They don't see hostile worlds, they see future homes. And when the universe tells them they can't survive somewhere, humans don't argue. They just prove the universe wrong, then invite everyone else over for dinner. Standing on that crystal balcony, breathing alien air that would have been instantly fatal to her ancestors, Chen smiled. Somewhere in the galaxy, there were probably new species declaring new impossibilities for humanity. She almost felt sorry for them. Almost. After all, humans had learned the ultimate truth about the cosmos. There was no such thing as impossible, only not yet figured out. And humanity was very, very good at figuring things out.